So I've got a blanket over my mat, and I'm just going to start on my back with my knees bent. Just make sure the whole of me is there. Beautiful. Start on my back with my knees bent. My arms are by my side. You can have palms facing up or palms facing down. And I'm just going to start with some gentle rocking of my knees. Having the feet a comfortable distance from the buttocks, not too close, not too far away. Pretty much so the knees are directly above the heels. And just come to this moment right now. Feel the air coming in and out of the nostrils. Feel the eyes closed, eyelids softly draping over the eyeballs. The softness of the eyelashes gently entwined. The forehead smooth. The skin around the eyes nice and smooth. The spine dropping, the shoulders dropping. The chin dropping softly to the throat. And the knees gently rocking side to side. Just very gently. So with subtle somatic movement, the movements are small. We're not looking for any big gestures. We're not looking for anything in particular. It's like a retraining of the mind to notice that our perceptions are always changing. So they're not something to be relied upon for truth. They're a momentary experience of what is happening. But anything that changes is not the truth. So just softly rocking the knees, nothing like a twist, just to earth the sacrum. The sacrum makes up the center of the back hips. Downward pointing triangle, 5 fused vertebrae. They fuse around the age of 14. Can feel the breath in my belly. And then I'm just going to come to stillness with what feels like in the center. Now when you come to the center, notice, does one foot feel a little heavier than the other? Does one back hip feel a little heavier than the other? Does one shoulder blade feel a little heavier than the other? And do you feel like you're in the center of the base of your skull? There's no need to make adjustment. We're just perceiving the body how it is right now, knowing it will change. We're going to softly rock up and down the spine. So all I'm doing is pushing into my feet a little, and I'm rocking in an up and down motion. So my feet are earthed, and I'm just rocking up and down on my spine. I feel a gentle tilt through my pelvis as I do this, but it's not because I'm trying to move the pelvis in that way. It's simply because I just started this rocking, and I'm just feeling, and in my mind's eye watching what's happening in my body. I can feel my whole spine shifting up and down. It's quite fast. It's quite a fast rock. And a rock like this really helps to just let go of all of those areas that we grip onto without even knowing we're gripping. Feel the breath, feel the movement, sigh if you need to, and really tune into a softness and a gentleness that starts to appear in the body and in the mind. And then just slow the movement down and let it stop. And then just be in absolute stillness. Take a few breaths here. Feel the sensations after the movement. Feel the energy moving up and down the spine. Maybe there's tingles in the fingers, in the toes. Maybe there's not. And then slowly slide the feet along, whatever you're lying on, until you're flat. Lengthen through the heels, and then totally relax. Let the feet flop to the side. Just take a couple of big belly breaths here. Maybe you turn the head softly side to side, keeping the shoulders really heavy. And then bring the feet a little closer together and lengthen through the heels. Bring the toes in towards the shins. Keep the heels on the mat so you'll feel the knees soften here. Spread the toes, feel the air between the toes. And then I'm going to lengthen the right heel away as I inhale. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, lengthen the left heel away. It'll only move about an inch. Exhale, bring it back. You can have the hands on the hips so you feel the movement through the pelvis. Exhale, back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, back. So one at a time. Lengthening the feet away, bringing it back. So I'm just softly gliding one heel away, bringing it back to center. You'll feel quite a shift through the pelvis here. It kind of imitates walking. So we don't have to move the feet very far from each other to get quite a movement through the pelvis. So really tune into what the sacroiliac joints feel like here. Just shifting side to side. And then totally relaxing. Let the hands come back down the side of the body. Let the feet be a little wider. Let the feet flop to the side. Take a couple of nice big breaths. Feeling any changes you feel through the back hips, through the feet. Notice does one foot flop a little more than the other? Does one side feel a little flatter than the other? Subtle awareness through somatic movement. Then bend the knees one at a time. And let's come back to that first movement we did. Start the movement just pushing the feet, feeling the spine, rocking up and down the spine. Feel the gentle rocking in the pelvis. And more than anything, we're trying to let the pelvis be really floppy. Letting the shoulders be nice and heavy. letting the jaw be nice and relaxed. The tongue is soft. So any form of rocking is womb-like. It reminds us of being in the waters of the body. It speaks to the waters of the body. Let the chin bob up and down. Don't make anything happen. Just notice what happens as you rock and continue to move in a certain way, and things just start to let go. Feels quite amazing. And then just stop and notice every time that you stop that movement, we'll revisit it all throughout this practice. Does your rocking continue a little bit more? If you've just joined, I've just noticed there's some comments there. Just join in with where I'm at. You can go back to the beginning later if you like. I'm keeping my feet hip distance apart. And the next movement is I'm going to inhale, let the right knee drop to the side. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, let the left knee drop out. Exhale, bring it back. Now you'll notice that my opposite knee pretty much stays where it's at. My leg stays where it's at. It will move a little bit, but I'm not allowing it to drop down. I'm also not holding it rigid. So again, we're just finding that really soft rhythmic movement held within the breath. Join in with wherever I'm at. Feel the breath. Close the eyes. Once you've got the movement, relax the tongue, relax the jaw. It's an inhale to drop the knee out. Exhale to bring it back. So really tune into what happens at the sacroiliac joints as you do these movements. The leg that's externally rotating, dropping down. The sacroiliac joint is pushing in on itself. The leg that stays up, that joint is softening a little. So tune into the subtleties at the joint and just keep flowing side to side with the breath, rolling over the sole of the foot. Inhale to drop it out. Exhale to bring it out. And notice, are your movements kind of quite fluid and soft, or are they a little clunky? It doesn't really matter. There's no judgment here. There's just a feeling of how fluid our joints are. This is something you can practice every day. It's such a beautiful sequence. And the more you practice it, the more fluid it becomes. This is on my Susie Space YouTube. Today I'm adding in a few of the extra rocking movements in between. One more on each side. And then come back to the center, take a full breath. And then let's start the rocking again. Push into the feet. The whole spine will move. The chin will start to rock. The pelvis will rock. It's a really beautiful movement. Keep on breathing. Feel the softness through the waters of the body. Feel the shoulders starting to relax. Maybe the arms start to wobble a little. Don't make anything happen, just notice. Like I said, the more we practice, the more we release the grip around the joints, the more fluid they become. the stronger they become, the more shock resistant they become, the more at ease we feel in our body. Keep the movement going. And then come to stillness. Notice the wobbles through the body. Such a nice feeling. Take a couple of breaths. Watch for those big gusts of wind that come in, and when they come, open the mouth, let out a sigh, releasing tension with all the wobbles. Heel toe the feet out so they're the same distance as your mat, or just a little bit wider. These movements are an inhale in the center, and then as I exhale, my right knee drops into the center, so an internal rotation this time. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, my left knee drops in. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, my right knee. Inhale, back up. Exhale, my left knee. Now you'll see that this opposite knee, while it drops out a little bit, it pretty much stays upright. It moves away just a little bit to give a little bit more space for the thigh to drop in. But I'm not coming into a twist. I'm keeping one sacroiliac joint relatively still, and I'm offering the opposite sacroiliac joint a little bit of movement. But of course there'll be movement in both. So tune your mind into the movement through the joints of the back hips, where the spine and the back hips, the spine and the pelvis join. Exhale, drop in. Inhale, back up. Exhale, drop in. Inhale, back up. Exhale, drop in. Have the breath the movement suspended in the breath. Start the exhale, complete it. Start the inhale, bring the leg back up. The breath becomes a bridge to connect the mind and the body, to connect us into the now, to drop us into the now like an anchor. The pelvis looks like an anchor. I love that it's my anchor to the earth, and it anchors me in the waters, but it allows for movement. Let's do one more on each side. So I always think of my pelvis as this anchor, and an anchor in sand allows for movement. There's got to be movement through the pelvis. And then heel toe the feet back in to hip distance apart. Take a full breath. And then let's do our rocking up and down the spine again. Notice, does it get more fluid? Does the head move more readily? Can you feel the pelvis bobbing up and down? Don't try to make any movement happen. Enjoy the feeling of release. Really relax the jaw. It will allow the chin to rock a little more. Feel the warmth in the sacrum as you rock up and down on the sacrum. And then come to stillness. Enjoy the, can feel energies buzzing all through my back, all down my arms. What a glorious feeling. The buzzing of energy in your body, healing as it goes. Now the next movement is the most subtle of all. I bring my feet in a little more closer to my pelvis, and I'm going to push down on my right sacroiliac joint on an exhale. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, push down the left. Inhale, bring it back. So it's if I was standing and doing this, the opposite knee would move away from the other knee to be able to push down into the back of that joint. So feel the unevenness, the asymmetry through the knees. And don't worry if the joints aren't used to this very subtle movement. These joints can get quite tight, and all the ligaments and the tendons around them can get quite tight. So this movement can feel quite uncoordinated. Sometimes one side will move and you'll feel a nice push down. It's also the muscles in between the pubic bone and the front hips. We're activating these very deep muscles. So you can even put your fingers in between the pubic bone and the front hips. You can push down a little, and you can feel the internal muscle action. I love that the more subtle the movement, the deeper we access the core. So we'll be doing more and more of these really subtle movements around the pelvis, through the pelvis, to access different parts of the core. So don't worry too much. Get out of the mind. Get into the feeling body. So the side that I'm pushing into, that foot pushes into the ground. The opposite knee feels like it lifts a little. The movements are so subtle, but very powerful, profoundly powerful, what this sequence offers us. One more on each side. And then totally relax again, rock the knees a little. Take a couple of breaths. If a big wind comes in, sigh it out. It's very normal for lots of big winds to come in this practice, like a nice big spontaneous breath. And then let's start our rocking again. Relax the jaw, relax the tongue, rock up and down the spine. Joints getting looser, fluids flowing. Feeling comforted by this womb-like rocking. I can feel my whole digestive system waking up, getting ready for breakfast, telling me my body's hungry. It's a part of our vagus nerve pathways, our rest and digest pathways, our parasympathetic pathways. And that's what all of this stimulates. And then come to stillness. Bask in the external stillness that now reveals the buzzing of the energy inside. Feels so nice. One more breath here. The next movement, I'm going to lift my left foot off the ground, not very far. At the same time, I push into my right foot and push that knee away. So this knee comes this way, that knee goes that way. And then relax back down. Inhale, opposite side. Exhale, back down. Inhale, knees going in different directions. Exhale back down. So it's not a bringing my knee into the chest. It's this very subtle movement for my sacroiliac joint. One knee coming this way, the other knee coming the other way. So I'm pushing into the foot on the ground to lift my buttock just a little bit to push that knee away. So find a rhythm with your breath. subtle movements. Remember, we're actioning movement at the sacroiliac joint. Very subtle. The joint doesn't allow for a lot of movement, but it needs healthy movement. For our spine, for our nervous system, for the nerves that innervate the lower body, for all of the organs in the pelvis, organs of elimination, sex organs, reproductive organs, whatever you want to call them. Keep breathing. Feel the movement through the joints. Inhale to lift the foot. Exhale to bring it down. This would have to be one of my most favorite practices. It's like it becomes a sleep in motion. I absolutely love the way it makes me feel. I always notice that my right sacroiliac joint has the same noises through it. Through the left, there's no noises. My right is a little clunky. So just notice that. Get to understand your joints. Get to understand your posture. Become aware of how our daily movement habits affect us. One more on each side. And then come to stillness. Breathe into the belly. And then come back to our rocking. Oh, feel the movement through there now. When we first start very subtle movement, because we're used to grand gestures, we're used to lots of feeling. We have this thing, no pain, no gain. I don't subscribe to it. I love just feeling myself getting looser as I rock. And practices like this have more powerful impact over time to my whole being. Every system governed by the nervous system starts to release. All of the systems start to function a little better. And then come to stillness. Bathe in your buzzing. From the spine, I can feel the energy buzzing down through my arms to my fingers, down my legs to my feet. Heel toe the feet out so they're a little wider. This last movement is just gentle twisting. On an exhale, I drop both knees to the left. On an inhale, I come back to the center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Very fluid, no pushing. Doesn't matter how far they get. Keep the eyes closed. And after a few rounds, start moving the head. As the knees go to the left, let the head go to the right. So we're getting a full little spinal rotation. Inhale everything back to the center. Exhale, head and knees in opposite direction. Inhale back to the center. Less is more all the time in these particular practices. I do practice in all different ways, but I must say I love the somatic stuff. The next time your knees go to the right and your head to the left, just pause there. Don't make any adjustments. Just land where you land. Take a couple of breaths. to center. Exhale, knees to the left, head to the right. Take a couple of breaths, just land where you land, stay there, feel, don't worry about adjusting, experience where you're at. Nothing to change, nothing to fix, just feelings to be felt. Inhale back to the center. Last rocking up and down the spine. Letting go. Keep the movement happening. Gentle pushing into the feet. Feel the pelvis. Feel the warmth you're creating through your sacrum. Feel the movement at the base of the skull. Feel the movement around the shoulders. Keep it going, creating warmth, energy. And then stop. And then slide the feet out. Try not to adjust too much. Feel the pulses through the body. Fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders. Nice big breath spontaneously coming in, sigh them out. Feel the shoulder blades heavy and flat and the openness of the chest. The lightness of the front ribs as you breathe in. The softness of the belly. The weightiness of the fluids through the pelvis. Feel them pooling there. Healthy elimination, healthy digestion, healthy reproduction. Feel the thighs, the knees, the ankles, the feet, the toes. Feel as much of you as you can. And allow your mind to dissolve into the sensations of effortlessness in your body. There's a vastness in the body, a spaciousness, and a sky-like quality to the mind. Tune in, feel, experience. This is something you can call upon when you need to, when you feel yourself gripping to life. Remember these feelings of spaciousness, presence, awareness, effortlessness. And call it back. Let it imprint your nervous system. Let it be a part of you. Let it grow. Practice these things over and over again. Let them flood your being. Let them be a new part of your reality to help you balance. Stay here for as long as you can. Maybe you go back to bed. Maybe you just rest. A lightness comes from these practices. A clarity, a lightness. They're perfect to do in the morning if you've got work. Whatever you choose to do, enjoy. I'll sign off here. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.